we'll have this discussion.
Discussion? What discussion?
This is a discussion combustion.
Coming to you from Denver, Colorado.
This is Discussion Combustion Podcast with your hosts, Kevin Batstone and Arthur Raw.
Well, hold on now, listeners. You know we're back at you with a solo. And this one is actually an homage to April Fool's Day.
April Fool's, y'all.
April Fool's is a fun day. You know, it's one of those days where if you're planning on doing a prank, you know, it's just really important that you think about it through and through. Because at the end of the prank, you want to have both people laughing.
I mean, it gives you an excuse to be a little bit childish, I feel like. You know, you get people's goat, you have a little fun, and that was our whole mission here, you know? You're in my seat, I'm in yours, you're wearing my hat, I'm wearing yours. What are we doing here, guys? April Fools.
It's an April Fool's special, and we're really, really excited to be in here. We're having a lot of tremendous success on our personal lives, and we're happy to bring that energy into the show and talk to you guys. So, you know, first, before we get into all the nitty gritty, that we are brought to you by mountainmade.life. That's Mountain Made CBD, and you can visit mountainmade.life to check out their products. You know, they have the crystal clear, active lifestyle CBD products to help you get through your day.
That's right, man. It's that CBD you need to succeed. For the activated lifestyle or the regular lifestyle like mine. Love it, man. I've been using a little bit of that combat, you know, using that defense. I love it. It's great stuff to add to your multivitamin, and you can't forget your original hitters. The build, the boost, the recover. Loving the new recover with chamomile. You know, a lot of people didn't like the
Combat.
the magnolia.
The defend.
It was kind of like, you know,
I'm loving their whole lineup.
I mean, everything they have is tremendous quality, guys. You know, you hear us say that week in and week out. I use this stuff daily. Love it. Mountain Made CBD truly crushing the game when it comes to the clearest, the purest, the most affordable CBD on the market. And if you go over to their website, you can bundle and save. You can auto pay, auto ship, making your life real easy. Stock up on what you need. It's going to come to your door. No headaches.
Super easy to do. And if you're into just feeling great and feeling right, then it's something worth trying out. You know, there's all these questions. What is CBD? How does it make me feel? How am I supposed to feel on it? And like we described a bunch of times on here, you're just supposed to feel good. I mean, I've told this story before, but a lot of times I've hit that 1, 2 p.m. slump, and the boost really, I count on that some days. I don't hit that slump every single day, but when I do and I take 2 or 3 boosts, you know, that's your CBD with electrolytes. That one sets me right. 20 minutes later, I'm dancing.
Oh, yeah, it lets you rip tater chip for sure. On these Wednesdays when we've got done working our 9 to 5s, I'll pop a couple boosts before I come up here to the studio to get ready to talk to you guys. It really gets your head in the game. So the fact remains, Mountain Made CBD giving you the clearest, the purest, the most affordable CBD on the market. Check out all their workout programs wherever they're. Follow them on all social media platforms. And that's that hashtag Go Like Hell mentality. Go like hell, baby.
Discussion Combustion is also brought to you by Wild Outdoor Adventures. To visit Wild Outdoor Adventures online, you're going to go to WOAMEET.com. From there, you can sign up at no charge. You can see what events they have upcoming. They have Hope for Teens, Hope for Vets. If you're an entrepreneur, definitely check it out as well. What they do with the online website is very easy to use. Like I said, it's free to sign up. The website's better words to say, but it's tits. It's a nice website.
Oh, it's tremendous.
And the most important thing about this, though, is once you start talking to people about it and you could put out your questions to the world, you're interested in seeing Colorado, you want to see what Colorado has to offer, then you're actually going to be able to get outside with people of similar interests and make some lifelong memories and hopefully friendships.
That's what it's all about, man. WOA truly is hosting you with gracious tremendousy. It really is a beautiful place. A little bit of a serenation of duality when you look at what Kevin Fryer does over there. You know, really just trying to help everybody out. Hope for everybody, like Art said, you know, a couple weeks ago. It's hope for everybody. You know, just trying to connect people. Colorado is a beautiful place. The mountains are tremendous. The weather's warming up. Get yourself on outdoors. You know, the masks are coming off. You need a breath of fresh air. What better way to do it than with a place where you can do a little bit of less dreaming and a whole lot of exploring.
Hell yeah. And you know that we're jumping into episode 95. We're taking a dive and we're going to strive. And I'm going to have a thriving Thursday. And it's just been a beautiful day, man. How's Wednesday been treating co-host number 2 tonight?
Well, first of all, this is the first time I've ever sat over here. And it's an April Fool's thing, right? Arthur's running the Roland tonight. He's doing the camera switches. I'm enjoying a Budweiser, which I haven't done on this podcast in a long time. So things are a little bit different tonight, man. I'm kind of digging it. We're going into April strong here. Our first solo in the new studio. It's good to be here.
It is good to be here, man. And I kind of want to reiterate on the whole like April Fool's pranking and stuff, because if you're doing a prank that is gonna end up like really like hurting somebody's feelings, or because there's a lot of pranks that like you could just act like you're having a seizure on the floor, and that's not a good thing to do. Like you don't really want to scare people. Like so I'm brainstorming like what would be a good prank for me to do this year on my girlfriend is what I've been trying to think of.
I've been watching a lot of America's Funniest Videos, and I've noticed one of the pranks that people are doing. This is probably a TikTok thing. You got to remember, I'm old and I'm a hillbilly, and I don't keep up with a lot of the trends, TikToks and all that shit. They're doing this thing where they'll put like water bottles stacked, like almost like dominoes, coming out of the bathroom, and they go, "Hey, Dad, there's water coming out of the bathroom. Come quick!" And they run up and see that. I thought that was pretty funny. That would be a great April Fool's prank.
That is a good one. Did you see the one? Where Gordon Ramsay got by his daughter.
Oh, yeah, where she tried to break an egg into it, and then she squeezes it up into his eye.
Yeah.
She squeezes the water bottle into his eye.
She did it perfectly. She really did it perfectly, man. That is something that would be a lot of fun to learn. So I was watching some tips and tricks. It's like some little magic things. And there's this one sleight of hand thing that this guy was doing where basically you hold a quarter in your hand, like kind of hidden, and then you like put a quarter underneath a glass, a cup glass, a cup that's made of glass.
Glass cup, Arthur. You got it?
Yeah. And so you have the one quarter underneath it. You have one quarter in your hand, and then when you hit the bottom and you drop the one in your hand, and then when you go to reveal, you slide it back and then shake it. So you slide the other quarter off the table. You have to get it on your lap so it doesn't make any noise. But
so there's a trick to it.
Yeah, and I wanna learn how to do that sort of stuff. It'd be fun to kind of learn how to.
It would be. I like watching Chris
sleight
Angel
of hand shit
and doing illusionism. Is that a thing? Illusionism or illusionist? I think they call them. They perform. The way that they basically keep you distracted from seeing what they're doing, which is an art.
Yeah.
It's totally an art, and I think it's fun. I tried doing little magic tricks when I was a kid because I thought they were fun. My magic tricks sucked. I wasn't good at it. Everybody knew what I was doing. Card tricks, I like those. But yeah, April Fool's pranks, man, I don't know. I hopefully we got our viewers, being that we're on opposite sides. And I got to tell you, you're looking great in my hat.
Well, I'm kind of disappointed that you started off the episode by giving up the juice on that because, they would have just noticed. You didn't have to say it.
Yeah, but the thing is that our viewers know that we're always wearing hats. I mean, typically we always have a hat on. So I don't know if that's where their attention would have been drawn to immediately. They might not even have noticed. I mean,
I'm digging this hat, man. It's pretty fresh. I like the America hat.
I'm digging. Here's the thing, though, dude, is you have a fat head, and I had to really bring this thing down to fit my not so fat head. And let's try rocking this thing backwards like K-Bat usually does.
Yeah.
The LL Bean hat. I feel like Artie over here, guys.
Dude, that's gonna leave a red mark on your forehead when you take it off. I can already tell.
That's okay. I mean, it's not that.
It's gonna happen.
It doesn't happen with that hat. Why would it happen with this one?
Well, because I could see it's making your head like you're getting a fold.
You think it's too tight?
It's too tight. It's one too tight, man.
Well, this is how I run that American flag hat, which, by the way, you look great in.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling patriotic. I had, a lot of fun on Saturday going to the range with you. That was my second time going to the range with you. I've shot 22 in my life before I met you. I shot shotguns, but your Smith & Wesson is the first pistol that I've ever shot on. And, now I've shot on that twice. And, boy, I got to tell you, I think I'm a better shot on your handgun than you are.
No, I don't agree with that at all. I mean, if you go back and watch the last video that we released, you're calling out headshots. You hit 2 out of 15 on the head. I mean, what are you doing?
Dude, I put something up there.
You
At
did.
least I hit it.
There's plenty of times I hit my target. Yeah, do I go low left? You bet I go low left, but I know how to adjust that.
I'm going to say...
You're coming out of the gate strong pretty confidently there that you're a better shot than me on my pistol.
Exactly, because like you said, just like T was... T was
great.
T was Danny's kid, so we invited Danny and his kid to come shoot with us.
Great guys.
And this kid, he was just picking up the pistol.
He was better than all of us.
Yeah, he was better than all of us on every single weapon.
Every single weapon he picked up, he was putting it right on the bullseye, red eye, you name it. And some people just have that. I mean, Mark's son Trey, who we've is in our thoughts. He's not health-wise doing particularly well. He's a marksman. Mm-hmm. I mean, this kid can hit a penny at 100 yards every time.
That's crazy.
It's unreal. I mean, obviously the weapon's dialed in real well, but it takes a certain level of skill. It's like playing guitar. Some people can pick up a guitar and be Jimi Hendrix with it, and other people like me can play it for 7 years and still be pretty beginner. I'm still a novice guitar player after 7 years. Now, granted, I don't practice at it every day. I don't shoot every day. But to come on here and suggest that you're better than me,
but no, that's why
my pistol.
No, but that's why I'm saying that I'm better than you on your gun, because some people just got it. So this is what we're gonna do. All right, this is what we're gonna do next time. Kevin and I go to the range, and we're gonna go to the same one because that range was fantastic.
Yeah. Shout out to Colorado Clays here in Brighton,
yeah,
Colorado.
Clays. You guys should check that
Probably
out.
one of the best ranges I've shot at.
It was awesome. For the rifle range, they have 50 yard and then 100-yard target. And what's really cool about that range is they have a little TV that's in your little cubby area that's posted up on the 100 yards, so you can actually, even if you didn't bring sights, you didn't bring binoculars or something, you can still see where you're hitting. Dude, and we were hitting some 100 rounds.
We hit the 100 yards.
Fun.
We hit the 100 yards.
Oh, yeah. We almost did 100 rounds hitting 100 yards.
Yeah, so we were using my AR-15. Smith & Wesson MMP-15 is a great rifle. And iron sights, guys. There's no scope on this weapon. I know there's a lot of anti-gun people that listen to us, but also a lot of gun people as well. So, if you're not familiar, shooting on irons, we were hitting 100 yards on iron sights, no scope. And we were hitting it. I mean, just a tick to the left. I felt like both you and I were catching the left of that target. But 100 yards, guys, on irons. This rifle is amazingly accurate. Smith & Wesson, shout out to you guys.
Yeah, it was fun. And then we shot, I forget the name of the rifle. It was the precursor to the AK.
It was the SKS. Yeah, semi-auto SKS, which is a 7.62, also commonly used in an AK round. Mm-hmm. That thing was kind of rowdy.
It was heavy. It was heavy, and it had not the iron sights, but actual sights, a scope. And I could see how unstable I was in that scope a lot easier than I feel like I was more stable with the iron sights, but it's probably just something millimeters that I'm not seeing.
Well, the difference is the way the weapons are built. I mean, you saw how significantly smaller and lighter the AR is than an SKS. I mean, that's a heavy rifle. It's long. The AR is designed for, comfort. It's just easier to hold. It's optimized for, irons, optics, whatever you want to put on it. It's just an easy rifle to build up that's super accurate. It's just built well, and a lot of people think AR stands for either automatic rifle or assault rifle. This is not true. It stands for armor light. This rifle was designed, less than 50, 60 years ago. So just want to throw that out there because there's a lot of negativity around, with Boulder and everything, which I don't want to take away anything from that.
Vegas and...
Well, Vegas was a different story.
But there's been, a lot of...
This guy was using Class 3 weapons in Vegas.
Yeah, it's such a tricky subject because, it's a tragedy every time that this happens, that there's a mass shooting, but...
It's terrible. Shouldn't happen.
It doesn't really matter the weapon that's used. It's the person they've hit their breaking point. That's where the issue is mental health. I don't feel like having guns available, because there's a black market. Like, people forget, you can always find something.
Absolutely. If I wanted to find cocaine or heroin, I could probably find it in the next 3 hours if I really grinded hard. And the same thing would happen with the guns. Now, as I said in my closing monologue last week when we went off the air, I do think something needs to be done, but I don't think banning weapons or restricting magazine capacities is going to have any effect on reducing these mass shootings. I just don't.
So back to the point at hand, when we go back to that shooting range, what we're going to do so I could prove this point is we're each going to have our own target, because we were sharing targets last time. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to each have our own target and swap them out after every 2 mags.
We'll get 2 lanes and we'll just hop back and forth.
But you can't bringing the gun back and forth.
Yeah, so you need your own weapon is what you're telling me.
No, but that's the thing is if we're shooting, who's better on the gun, we have to use the same gun.
I suppose that's true. You could get the same weapon I have. The Smith & Wesson MMP9 is a great pistol. Then we know it's the same gun.
Or we could just swap the targets.
All right.
Because even if it's the same gun, it's not the same gun because we're shooting from two different pistols, even though it's the exact same manufactured.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I'd be willing to take this challenge with you. I know you'd like to prove you're a better shooter than I am, and I'm okay with that if you are.
Well, there's something fun about like being like, yeah, I'm better than on your own gun. It's a very ridiculous, outlandish, cocky thing to say, and I love calling you out like that. It's fun for me.
It was a good time, man. I'm glad we got to get to the range. It was the first time I had shot in months, so I had to knock the rust off a little bit, going low left, and going low left basically indicates the trigger squeeze. One of the biggest, critiques with that weapon and things that people don't like about the M&P is the trigger break. Like a Sig Sauer and some of those other weapons have a little bit more of a sturdy trigger, and I think that would make a big difference on that pistol. And I could change out that trigger, and I guarantee you that would correct the low left.
Huh. So having a sturdier trigger,
not a sturdier, just a different, like an Apex trigger, where that's the biggest critique I have with that weapon is I don't like the trigger. We shot that HK, which was tremendous.
Dude, that pistol, I mean, the grip there was something, like I described it like this to you. It was like, it was so smooth, it didn't feel like, because I've only ever shot your handgun.
Right.
So when I shot that, it didn't kick as much.
It didn't have as much recoil.
Yeah, as much recoil, and it was super smooth, man. It was like parquet type of smooth, like where you want to spread it on some toasted bread.
And that's why, like going back to the guitar stuff, like having one of everyone, a Martin, a Gibson. I'd love to have a Glock, an HK, Rugers. I've shot plenty of Rugers. I want one of everything.
One gun that I've always just wanted to shoot is the AK. I would love to just, there's something iconic about that weapon.
The AK-47.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 7.62 round, man. It's a fun rifle. I've shot an AK. I prefer the AR-15. It's a much sturdier weapon. I feel like you really can control an AR better than a lot of other long rifles that I've shot with that kind of caliber.
Yeah, Alec, if you're listening to this one, you already know, man, that like I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you for that first one. You almost had me with that Glock.
He probably still does.
I'm getting close, man. It's just I got a move coming up. I'm moving around.
Me too, man. I'm moving new places. You and I are both getting new places here in the next week or two.
Yep.
I signed my lease Saturday, or I already signed it. I get my keys Saturday.
It's coming up quick. I get my keys on Monday, and I'm going to do a couple small loads and marry the Mountaineer. And then Tuesday, I took Tuesday off, and we hired movers. I'm 34 now, Kev. Like I can't be hiring these movers anymore. I can't be hiring my friends with pizza and beer anymore.
I'm pretty sure I said that several weeks ago.
Yeah, but I wasn't 34 at that point in time.
So when you were 33, it was still okay to try to recruit me?
When you turn 34, you're going to realize how everything changes.
That's ridiculous. That's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
You've heard more ridiculous things.
I've heard a lot of ridiculous things. That's one of the top.
That when you're 34, everything changes?
It's 2 years from now.
Dude, when I turned 34, I stopped eating my croissant sandwiches with my hand. I then went to knife and fork so I don't grease up my fingers. When I went to 34, you start learning how to finesse things.
Yeah, I don't think that's. I mean, you can learn tricks of the trade at any age. I don't think 34 has anything to do with it. I mean, some people don't even start trading until they're 40. Other people do it when they're, I started when I was 29. So it's like saying, well, when you turn 29, you start trading equities.
No, I know it is supposed to be a ridiculous statement because, age is truly just a number and an experience, like what people have experienced growing up. That's what forms them. So, impromptu question, what do you think was one of the most impactful experiences you had as an impressionable adolescent teen that really shaped who you would become?
Probably when, I've talked about this on this cast before, when I was at my darkest point, man. No question about it. When I hit somewhat rock bottom, I went into adolescent psychiatric ward for about 5 days. And it was at that point that I realized, number one, I don't belong here kind of thing. Not that I'm better than any of these people. It was just like, how did I end up here kind of thing.
Yeah.
So for me, that shaped me going forward tremendously. I got off the antidepressants. I struggled with anger management. I got help with that. That that moment for sure going into that Cheshire Medical Center in Keene, New Hampshire, was life-changing for the best. For the best, because you said most impactful. For me, that was the most impactful.
Yeah, that really helped shape and form who you would become.
It helped me realize this is not the life I want to live. This is not where I want to be. You got to dig down and change some things.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, while you're explaining to myself, I'm thinking to myself, like, what was it for me exactly? I had a pretty, I've had a lucky life. I've been very fortunate and blessed. Like, I've had my own issues, which I created all of them. Honestly, learning about affirmation and how to help your mind, be in control of your thought process and influence your subconscious. Learning that at like 11 to 12. No, I was probably 12 to 14 when I first learned that stuff. And I would say that information ultimately shaped who I would become. So I would say my mom introducing me to that book, which I read, was really a huge influence on what I would become as an adult.
Was that the Mind Power or the Power is Force?
So that would be the Mind Power into the 21st Century by John Kino. Really easy read too. Like, the book is not hard to read. Like, it's all in simple literature. Like, it's not complex. It's not a complex read. Like, you could pick it up and get through a couple chapters in a night. But the information that's in there, I mean, I talk about affirmation a lot since it's a solo. Let's revisit it real quick. So the main things that's super important is to, have a small sentence or phrase that you repeat. Remove all the don'ts, nots, won'ts. All that needs to leave because your unconscious doesn't hear the negative. So, like, if I want to quit smoking cigarettes and I'm like, I don't smoke cigarettes, then the subconscious hears I smoke cigarettes. Mm-hmm. So you just have to be really aware of when you're putting it together, how you're structuring your sentence. So the small sentence or phrase, and then you also need to have the visualization. So you see yourself as if you've achieved whatever you're talking about. And that also wants me to lead to, when you're putting together your small sentence or phrase, say it as if it's already been achieved. So it's like, if I'm trying to be a badass weightlifter, then I would say I'm at peak physical condition. Mm-hmm. And then I'll keep repeating that. So then you see that. And then the third thing, so there's three pieces. Those are the first two, the sentence, the phrase, the visualization. And then the third piece is the emotion and the feeling behind it. And that is called seeding. That's the term for it. So you want to feel what you're going to feel. How do I feel achieving this goal? Like, how do I feel that I've accomplished this goal? And if you could take those three things, the small sentence or phrase with the visualization of you doing it and the feeling of you achieving it, and you do that 2 to 3 times a day for like 2 to 3 minutes each time, then it may take a year, it may take 6 months, it may take 10 years, but you're going to manifest through affirmation. You're going to manifest your reality.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I've used that before, honestly. I would say that's one of the other impactful things I learned in my 20s was, in fact, you taught me that, affirmations. Here's the thing with it, though, is that you truly have to believe in it. You can't just do it because you're told to do it kind of thing, like just repeat this. You really have to dig down and believe what it is you're repeating to yourself.
Yeah.
Because I used to think the whole saying, like, your body believes what you tell it was bullshit until I started having some health issues that I somewhat question if I manifested. I mean,
What kind of?
Just like, with the acid reflux and hiatal hernias and stuff like that.
What'd you do to manifest
Well,
that,
because
though?
I used to say, like, I had these things before I had them.
See?
Yes.
Yes.
But at the same time, was that intuition knowing that maybe there was a medical issue, or did I convince the body that that's what's going on? I don't know. But on the flip side of that, when I'm not feeling great and I have a lot to do, I usually do the same thing. I'm strong, I'm healthy, I got this.
Yeah.
I'm strong, I'm healthy, I got this. And
For sure.
It does help me to get through those days because I don't call in. I don't do shit like that. I show up. I get it done. And sometimes I have to do stuff like that to get the job done. And it does help. I do believe in positive affirmations.
Oh yeah, I mean, simply just telling yourself that I got this, I can figure it out. Like I'll be super stressed at work too. I'll be having that moment where it's like things are piling on and like I'm feeling overwhelmed and I don't know if I can handle everything that's happening right then and there. You slow down for 1 second. I got this. I can handle this. I'm a champ. I'm a pro. Like however you want to say it, but it goes extremely far.
It does. It does, because then everything's in sync at that point. But again, it's not one of those things you can just say it, kind of willy-nilly, sarcastically, being like, whatever, you guys are nuts.
Yeah.
And then just start saying, well, I'm going to be rich, or a beautiful woman's going to fall into my lap.
Yeah, you have
It
to
doesn't
see
work
it.
that
You
way.
have to see how it's going to map out.
Right.
That's why the visualization thing is so important.
Believe and achieve.
Yeah.
You do. You truly have to believe what you're saying. You can't just say it and then not believe in what you're saying, right? You have to get behind it 110%. You got to get in the trenches with the grenades. You got to get in there and own it.
Dude, I mean, that's the most important thing that we can do is admit to our faults. I feel like a lot of people, I mean, we've talked about it 1,000 times, beating a dead horse right now, but like how people project themselves on social media is not always authentic.
It's true.
And I feel like that's a detriment for anybody who's not facing the truth within themselves. Because if you're not willing to show yourself the truth, then you're never going to be willing. So people who only put their best foot forward, it's a fallacy. Like, are you truly happy, or are you just, so I feel like that's a really important thing to highlight is we need to be upfront honest with ourselves, and that's including with all the bad things, all of our slip-ups, all of our mistakes. Like, we have to be upfront honest with that, because if we're not being honest to ourselves with that, then we're essentially just like cutting ourselves short. We're losing an opportunity to learn, because another thing that in Mind Power book is that this is an awesome affirmation, and you could say it to yourself, is that every problem is an opportunity. Every problem is an opportunity for me to overcome that issue.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of different ways you can word that. I mean, I hear Mark Cuban and Kevin O'Leary on Shark Tank talk about those same kind of scenarios, weekly, and how things like that can prohibit progress and professionalism. And Jocko, I think, does a good job. I've quoted him a few times on this podcast, Jocko Willink over at the Jocko podcast.
More than a few.
Yeah, I mean, because it's such a powerful message, and I love Jocko's. I don't want to say I envy him, but because I don't envy anybody. I think that's ridiculous. I love what he does. I think he's tremendous. He's a go-getter, man. He hammers it out day after day after day. But I love what he says about the whole good thing. When things are going bad, there's going to be some good that comes out of it.
Yeah.
Didn't get that job you wanted. Good. You got fired from that last job. Good. More time to get better. That's what it is.
Exactly. I mean, making mistakes is part of reality. Like, we have to accept the fact that we're not always going to do it right, and that's okay. It's okay if when I take off my pants, if the left leg comes completely fucking inside out. That's okay.
Yeah. I don't experience that problem. I'll tell you what I experience.
Okay.
Is sometimes when I'm trying to take my boots off, they get caught in the jeans because my cowboy boots, third week in a row, and I'm keeping that going.
Stop putting up your fucking clog hoppers.
Third week in a row, because I know you said, like, yeah, that was 2 weeks in a row. Third week in a row.
Oh, he's going to keep, this is a new tradition.
This is a new tradition. I'm going to see how long I can keep this fucker going. When I try and take these things off, if the jeans are a little bit too tight, if they're not the boot cut art, they get stuck. And it really, really upsets me, because I get irritated as I'm trying to kick them off, coming in, like maybe there's snow on the bottom of them. And so as I try to take them off, they get snug right here, and I have to almost kick them off to get them out of the
So your foot's like halfway in the boot, halfway out, and the shoe, the pant is holding
the cuff of the jean.
holding the jean. Yeah, I can see how that could be annoying. So, I would like to really focus my energy on just being 100% authentic with Arthur, and what I mean by that is, we get thrown all these different things in our life, in our daily activity. We get thrown in different directions. Like, things happen in life. And too often it's easy to react, and that's one thing that where I really feel like I can continue to improve in my life and get better is less reaction, like being prepared for the like expecting things to not work out. And so always just being prepared to not react to a situation, and that's one area in my life where I want to continue to grow on and maybe talk about my journey, man, because, if you think about it, everybody has things that they react to, like there's always an opinion for something and there's a conflicting opinion for everything.
And that's life, and that's life. That's free will. That's having your own opinion and your ability to discuss that with people. That's always going to happen. I can relate to that, though, because that's something I've tried to work on for a long time, because I have a lot of things that trigger me, being that I'm kind of an angry feller, which is something I've gotten better at in my older age. It's really just situational awareness. It's tough, though, because, like the old saying, which I do like, the war is won before the battle is fought. Preparation is key.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Maximizing your strategy, your execution. How are we going to handle the situation if it happens? The problem I have with that, the con to that is, then I feel like it becomes too scripted to where it's not an authentic reaction, right? You're almost programming yourself to be like, okay, I'm not going to respond to this how I'm intuitively feeling. I'm going to do it how I've practiced.
Well, and that's a great point, because are you willing to sacrifice yourself to be less reactive? And I would say no. Like, let's not sacrifice ourselves. But let's say that something really rubs me the wrong way, and my initial reaction is to handle it a certain abrasive way. I can convey the exact same opinion and the exact same perspective in a calm manner. So that's where I would improve on the whole reacting thing is I'm not trying to snuff how I feel, because I agree with that. Like we need to be real with how we feel, because then, if you're not being real with that, then you're putting the fake foot forward, which is what we're trying to avoid.
That's what we're trying to avoid.
And so because sometimes I'll get aggressive. And,
me too.
And so the best thing for me is to just slow it down, give myself 15 seconds, maybe,
It's difficult, though, man. I mean, life comes at you fast, and a lot of different scenarios are constantly testing us. Life is going to always test us. I think for me, the biggest thing is my tone. That's what I get. That's what I get a lot of reflection on, is the way that I address situations. Not so much in my professional career, in the grocery biz, but with personal interactions. People say that my tone can really upset the discussion or the argument. I haven't seen that happen here at DCPC, but when I'm in a comfortable element, maybe I'm drunk, I'm talking to either my girlfriend or my mom or whoever. They're like, your tone is just too aggressive.
Yeah.
I don't. That's something I don't know how to work on. I'm trying.
I mean, it's hard to change like your natural inflections and voice and things like that, but I think if you could just take, sometimes if it's one of those trigger things, like where like you heard it and you can tell that you're getting, that's the problem. That's the hardest part of all this, is being aware of how you're feeling and catching yourself in the moment and being aware that I'm getting a little amped up right now. I'm starting to feel a little pissed off. I want to fucking break something right now.
Yep.
And being aware of that and being able to snuff that out a little bit and let yourself know that I can say the same thing. I can convey the point I want to in a calm manner. That's where I'm practicing. That's where I need the most practice.
Me too, man. I mean, you're speaking my language. That's literally something I've been working on for years now, as a part of like the whole anger thing, because a lot of it has to do with my demeanor of the day too. Sometimes I'm just irritated. I've had it. I'm spent, and then just the littlest shit will just piss me off.
Yeah.
Littlest stuff, man, will just send me over the edge, and I don't respond well to it. I mean, you've seen some of it off mic. I'm just like, I'm not in the mood for it, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And that's just me being real. So going back to what I said earlier, it's tough to balance your real emotions and then being able to react in those scenarios to manage it a little bit, because there's a difference. There is, because you're still feeling these emotions. It's real. You're feeling it, but it's how we're going to handle it and respond. Taking that 10-second breather, taking a walk, whatever it is that you're going to learn in anger management therapy kind of stuff that I've been taught throughout the years. I feel like for me, the biggest thing I've learned from all of that has just been situational awareness. Mm-hmm. Being aware of your surroundings, being in the moment, and really understanding what's going on. It still doesn't change the fact that I'm going to have a bad night. And I'm going to fly off the handle. I might throw a beer can. I might say something I'm not proud of.
Dude, okay. So a lot of this has to do with relationships, obviously. I mean, come on. Everybody with their spouse, that's who we go to war with, is our spouse. And I'll just remember this one time where I lost my cool, man. I lost my cool, and something was happening, and I wanted to break something, and the closest thing to me was an apple. And that apple got thrown across the room at 90 miles per hour.
Damn, you threw a 90 hitter? You should be pitching for the Rockies, bro.
Yeah, right. It was probably 65. But
I mean, that's still pretty quick.
Is it? I could probably huck an apple pretty fast.
I'll give you 58.
Oh, 65. But either way, man, that thing fucking exploded on the wall. And I'll always remember just seeing that apple get completely destroyed out of my anger. And you know what? It didn't make me feel any better.
No, it doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. You know what happens to me, or what used to happen to me? Because, I was known for punching holes in walls, and having to do a bunch of fucking drywall work after because of my stupid ass punching holes. What the hell did that do, Kev? Nothing. Now I punched the hole in the wall because I'm angry. I'm looking at it going, now I got to do a bunch of drywall work. I just fucked myself 2 times over. So I'll proudly say I have not thrown a hole in a wall since 2016.
Was that a Super Bowl? Was that the Super Bowl thing?
No, that was a relationship kind of situation.
Yeah.
2016 was the last time I threw a hole in the wall. So 5 years ago, no holes.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
That's really good. I'll be the first to admit that when the pandemic hit last March, man, it was quite a shocker. It was a change in reality. Like, with my job working from home, I know you've still been out in the field taking grenades. In the field taking grenades.
No, in the trenches taking grenades. Get it right, Art.
And yeah, you got.
I kind of like this seat over here, man. You really, I mean, I don't even feel like a co-host. I feel like a guest, really.
Well, you're getting sweet talked right now. I forgot what I was talking about.
No,
you're in the trenches taking grenades,
right?
And my girl and I, we, for safety reasons, we're both working at home. And then all of a sudden you go from working 40 hours a week in office, 5 days a week, guaranteed, to being around your spouse 100% of the time. And I don't care how good your relationship is. I don't care how long you've been together. If you were put into that in the beginning of the pandemic and both of you all of a sudden were working from home and we don't have a house, like we rent an apartment, so it's not a ton of space, we have some room. But man, we were just on top of each other all the time, getting at each other all the time. And I truly love my girl to death. Like, she's a sweetie. She loves me to death. And that's the thing, is like sometimes we get away from that. Like, I love you, I care about you. Like, that's our foundation. Like, why are we arguing all over all this other stuff? And dude, the pandemic definitely tested that for a lot of people. And honestly, up until like the past month, like, I feel like we're finally starting to recognize that we weren't good for a while. And now we're starting to understand like how to work with each other more, because we still work from home like 90% of the time. It's rare that we go in the office.
Yeah, I haven't had to experience that. My girl and I are getting ready to move in together here in a couple weeks, which I'm super excited about.
That is exciting.
I love Brady to death, and this is a great move for us, and I'm really excited for what's about to happen next. It's going to be a learning curve for me. Mm-hmm. I've been on my own for a long time. I haven't had to experience a lot of these things. Being that I am in the field, even when we do live together, I'm not working at home yet.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for updates on that. But
Kevin's making some moves at the beginning of 2022.
Yeah, I'm not going to give that away because of my current position, but we'll address that when the time is right. And what I'm going to tell you is this. So I can't relate to that per se, because I haven't been in that scenario. I've had the ability to have my space and still be in the field. Not much has changed for me as far as my routine. My Monday through Friday, going to work. The only difference is I got to put on a mask, and do that kind of stuff when I go into work. Whereas people working from home, don't have to put on a mask. So,
which is nice.
Wearing a mask 40 hours a week for a year now. For a year, all my grocery people, we know the struggles. We know the struggles.
Man, so when sorry if you're in the middle of a point, but how do we create the whole movement of paying our frontline workers that are essential workers instead of getting like a thank you pin for your jacket or like some recognition like that, like, oh, thank you so much, like coming from the CEO. Oh, I got an email from the CEO. He's so thankful. I've been hustling my ass, almost getting fucking the pandemic. like how do we help create that environment to where, it's appreciated more? It's just one of those things where it's like these big companies are taking advantage because, yes, they're entry-level positions, but at the same time, that entry-level position is customer-facing, and if you're not doing a good job at that, like, these people are risking a lot going to work. And so I don't know, man. The whole wage gap, like, I don't know enough to really be educated on, like, well, if you pay them more, then that's going to increase this, and then that's going to decrease this probability. And like, I don't know all that stuff. But it's like people who have been on the front line should be getting paid. Like, they shouldn't have to have two jobs.
Well, I mean, and they recognize that in the beginning. That's what's interesting about it is when COVID first hit and the pandemic hit, the PPE pay, they called it, or commonly known as hazard pay, was in effect for a lot of these frontline workers, grocery workers. I'm not sure how the medical side did it because I'm not leveraged in there. But as far as on the grocery and retail side, people that were out there in the trenches taking grenades, like to say, there was a little bit of a hazard pay bonus for a short while. And
so just a short while?
For a short while.
Like a couple months?
The first couple few months, there's like, we're going to extend it, and then all of a sudden it went away. It just went away as the threat and the pandemic was still very real. It's like, okay, well, we're not going to give you the hazard pay anymore, but you're still out there at high risk according to what the CDC says and whoever you listen to. So it's interesting to me how that worked.
That's half-assing it, if you ask me. Like, you go in for the first couple months and do something right, but then all of a sudden, like, this pandemic's going to last a lot longer than we thought. We can't afford this anymore. That's what happened.
It's exactly what it is, because everybody was under the impression that this thing wasn't going to take as long as it did.
Yeah.
And it did. It's still stretched out. The frontline workers are feeling it. Mm-hmm. And, again, it was one of those things in the beginning, grocery workers, I hear you. I'm in the distribution side of it. I'm out there in the trenches with you. And you guys are killing it. We've been killing it for the last year, just providing food and resources for the public, people that need it. It's such an essential business, and it's always been frowned upon. Like, oh, grocery biz, you fucking morons. I'll tell you this, man.
What would you do without your grocer?
What would you do? It was like we were talking about with Justin Feinsilver last week. Great guest, one of my favorites. He knew. He's like, look, man, he's been in that business. He's managed that side of the business. It is difficult work. It just is, especially during a pandemic.
It's hard on your feet, hard on your knees.
Especially during a pandemic. Throw a blizzard in there, throw a hurricane in there, anything like that. Be good to your grocery workers, people. That's what I'm going to tell you.
I agree with that. And I mean, that is something that should be echoed across just being a human. Like, you should, like we said just the other week, I forget if it was last week or the week before, but start with a common level of respect with people. Like, you should treat everybody, regardless of ethnicity, of income, of, race, of sex, regardless of all that, you should start with a common level of respect.
Absolutely.
And give them an opportunity to either build on that or give them an opportunity, or they lose the opportunity, and I feel like, I mean, everybody's guilty of it. There's stereotypes out there, and there's always the stereotypes that, people, see somebody and you kind of assume some things. I mean, white males are stereotyped all the time. Like, we get stereotyped just like every other race and sex and gender. And
everybody's going to be stereotyped to some degree.
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes. We were talking about that off mic a little bit, just about, oh, well, I'm a gun guy, right? So I must side with this politician, or I must also be this. And I think that's part of the problem, is that we're immediately looking at people like, oh, I guarantee you I know who he voted for, or she voted for, or they voted for, whoever, right? it blows my mind that's how we categorize everybody now, and so quick to judge because of maybe something you said or something you believe in. It's nonsense to me. It's like, why does it have to be so black and white, no shades of gray kind of thing?
Yeah. And that's where everybody can improve is doing their best to recognize a predisposition in our own mentality. Like if we could all do that, and tying back into the affirmation thing, like, if we could think, if we could be aware of our thought process while it's happening, then that's extremely powerful, especially because most people probably just let their thought process happen all day long. They don't even think about it once, and their mind is just running rampant. So if you can actually take control, take it by the harnesses, and realize, like, oh, I'm thinking this way when this happened. Do I like that I'm thinking that way? Mm-hmm. Would I rather think another way? People are lacking on that.
I agree. You got to constantly question yourself, because it is easy to get, and I'll tell you this, man, I'll be the first to admit I'm guilty of it. I did this a lot in my 20s. You get conditioned into believing a specific thing, and you feel like you have to, almost like being a fan of a sports team, right? Or whatever you're a fan of. You're always going to support that, and you're a little bit more lenient on, oh, well, this player from the team I like just got into some shit, but he's so badass for my team, I'm going to overlook that. So you constantly got to be critical on and be equal across the board on how you analyze these situations, I feel like. Because it's too easy to get complacent and defend your position on something because that's what you're supposed to believe. You've made this, here's where I'm at. Nothing can change that.
Correct. And in my mind, that's the old dog that you can't teach new tricks to. And who wants to be that old dog? Raise your hand if that's you. I doubt anyone's raising their hand, because everybody wants to be malleable. Everyone would like to be able to, change and be the best person for thy neighbor. Like, deep down, humans are, we're dependent on each other. Like, one person by themselves is not going to be able to accomplish what 10 people can working together. Like, we're like ants. Like, we are better together. And then so if you can pick up on those, I mean, and everybody does it. I mean, myself, I am trying to be aware of my thought process. I'm trying to be aware of any, predispositions that I have, and I still have them, but I notice it. And that's something that I feel like we as a people could do better, is notice our predispositions and try to realize and say to ourselves, I'm not always right. I'm not always right. Like, there's more than one way to do things, and my way isn't always the best way. And if we could harness that and really be humble, then we'll treat people better. And dude, I don't think it's ever going to disappear, but how great would it be if, in 100 years, if people really adapted this train of thought, and then all of a sudden racism is gone.
Well, I mean, there was a would you rather you asked a long time ago. Would you rather see racism or religion go away? Both, I think, carry weight of putting people in boxes and living a specific lifestyle. They're very different. There's a lot of vast differences between the two, of course, but you're right. I mean, if we could just look at everything with a critical eye, but at the same time be critical, loving, and accepting, one of our mission statements here at DCPC, that's the problem. Is there's always everybody's so quick to cast judgment now. You voted for this person, you did this, you didn't do that. I can't believe you think this, right? And then it becomes like almost this animosity and judgment right out of the gate, where we're getting further away from being able to accept different opinions, different decisions, different kind of lifestyles, different income brackets, right? We need to just look at everything the same. Everything is universal, in my opinion. Rich, poor, skin color, gender, don't care what it is. You're a human being. That's what it is. And we need to respect it as that.
That is true. One thing I'll put underneath the microscope, and I didn't talk about this much while the dude was in office, but I just really don't like Trump as a person. Like, I feel like President Trump is just, as a person, he is a narcissist who's very selfish, who doesn't understand the impact of his decisions. And why I'm bringing this up to put it underneath the microscope is like, even though I disagree with Trump, I don't think he is a good person. I think he's a horrible person that is selfish. But I've met a ton of Trump supporters that I think they're authentic people that are good people, good conversationalists, very smart, and so it's like one of those things, like what you just said. Just because somebody has an opinion, just because they voted a certain way, doesn't mean that they check all these other boxes, you know. And by putting every Trump supporter into that box of, oh, you must think all this other thing because you support this guy, that's ignorant of me. You know, so that's one thing that I want to put underneath the microscope, and you could apply that to any situation.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head there. That's a perfect example of it, and we've seen a lot of it, you know, here recently. You know, again, social media has a lot to do with that. It impacts people's opinions. You know, you got people out there living the fake life, so to speak. Here's the materialistic stuff. I'm doing this. And then you got the keyboard warriors that we always talk about that are, I can't believe you believe that and this and that. It blows my mind, man. And I don't know what we can do as a whole to somewhat meet in the middle. You know, I just feel like it's when you try to take the, you know, two negatives or positives of a magnet and they push apart.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where we're at. Like, we're trying, but it's just not working.
Yeah.
It's just not working.
Man, I got to tell you something that will work.
Well, I got to do Would You Rathers.
It's the word of the week.
Oh, Word of the Week. Yeah, what do we got?
So word of the week that we got this week.
You're doing Kevin's role over there. You're wearing the hat great, by the way.
This hat, here, let me actually do it right, because Kevin always likes to wear his hat backwards. You know, a little flick of the hair.
What do we got, man?
So, word of the week. What we have here this week was submitted from Vicky in Littleton, Colorado.
Oh, thanks, Mom.
It came from Mama.
Thanks, Mama.
Thank you, Mama. Proliferate. I almost read the definition.
See, now you're seeing how I feel when I got to do Words of the Week. Pressure, the heat's on, isn't it?
Oh, but I like to sweat.
Listen, okay.
Proliferate. So I'm reading the definition. I'm going to come up with the sentence. So,
Proliferate.
So as
Chris Fraser's listening to this going, guys,
as the Vietnam War continued to escalate, troops proliferated in the Vietnam region. Proliferate.
I need to know noun, adjective, what you know, more about the word.
Where does that say that here?
Proliferate.
I'm pretty sure it's a adjective.
Proliferate. So pro means, you know, you're moving, you're either adding to your position. Proliferate. You know, so
you're kind of on the right track here.
I mean, I'm thinking like adding to or increasing something.
Yeah, I mean, you're right on. So proliferate is a verb. Oh God, how did I not see that sitting right there?
Wait,
right there.
Is it a verb? So it's an action word.
It's a verb.
So which is an action word, which means you're doing something's happening. We're not describing something. It's not a person, place, or thing. So a verb is an action, right? So we're adding to our position.
Yeah. So it's to increase rapidly in numbers, multiply.
Beautiful.
The science fiction magazine that proliferated in the 1920s.
Love
example.
Great word. Thanks, Mom. That's pretty cool.
Thanks, Vicky. Good word. We like it. You guys know you could send your submissions to the IG. You can send it to discussioncombustion@gmail.com. You can send it to any place that we are available, which is everywhere.
We're available everywhere, man. And I'll tell you, this has been, I'm really enjoying this experience sitting over here. I'll tell you for a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
One, I don't have to worry about hitting buttons, which is nice. I do feel like I'm a guest on DCPC.
You feel like a guest today?
Yeah, because it's like, as you're probably knowing, like there's a lot more things going through your head as far as camera position, stuff like that. You're doing great.
I've had two mess ups. One was early on. One was super early on. I meant to slap my button. I slapped yours.
Oh, that's going to happen. I've done it.
Happens.
I think I did it last week with Justin Feinsilver. I think I had the camera on him while you were talking.
Yeah.
These are just things that you're going to learn as we go, Art. I mean, this is our first solo in the new studio. Having a lot of fun with it. And here's what I'm about to have fun with.
Dude, I got to pee so bad. Okay, let's go.
You want to pee? I'll talk to the listeners if you got to do that.
No.
Okay. So for the first time, well, not the first time, I've come up with Would You Rathers in the past, but this has always been Arthur's segment. So because I'm sitting over in this chair, I got some Would You Rathers for you, brother.
Are these custom ones?
These were not
some custom.
This is not a Kevin Batstone Would You Rather. This is an influence Would You Rather. But
Okay.
I really like this. I'm curious to see what your position is.
Okay,
on this.
I can respect it.
So Arthur Raw, let me ask you this: would you rather have all traffic lights when you approach them be green, or never have to stand in line again?
Okay, yeah, I've totally read this one before.
Have we had this one?
No, I've read it. Dude, okay, so
We haven't had it on the show though, right?
a long time ago, I was like, yeah, I didn't do this one because maybe we did do this one.
Did we do this one on the air?
We may have, but it's still a good
Son
one.
of a bitch, Kevin.
It's still a good one, but that's why you got to come up with custom because these. So I would rather.
Man, I do feel like we probably did this one.
I would rather never stand in a line again. Opposed to, I'm okay with hitting red lights at this point in my life. When I was younger, I wasn't. I couldn't deal with that. But at this point, I'm so used to, like, with COVID and everything, like, there always being a wait. Like, I would rather just skip the line at this point.
We might have done this one, man. You're right. It's starting to sound familiar. I didn't feel familiar when I first read that, and so I'll probably repeat the same answer. And if it's different, then you can call me out as being a fucking idiot. But I feel like I never want to stand in lines either.
Yeah. Because
So,
you're standing close to people.
Yeah, well, I don't
First
care
of all,
about all that.
I don't have my music.
Yeah, no music. I don't
No.
Look, pre-COVID, pre-anything, I hate lines. All right?
Yeah.
I don't like waiting to get into places. I don't like waiting to take a piss. That's my least favorite line to wait in is to piss.
Dude, I'm waiting on a line to piss right now.
Okay, let's move to the next Would You Rather, because I know for a fact we've never done this
Okay,
one,
okay.
and this goes back to what we talked about with the Justice Special podcast.
All right.
Rachel and Natasha, we had this discussion, and this is well, we didn't have this discussion, but this is loosely based on it. So, Arthur Raw, would you rather be covered in fur or completely covered in scales?
Fur or scales?
So scales or tails, right?
So how big are the scales?
I mean, look, if it's a scale, you're probably talking reptilian, right? So you're a snake.
I mean, but
You're
there's
a lizard.
There's geckos
You're a
that
fish.
There's geckos that would fit on the very tip of my finger, and those scales are absolutely tiny.
Okay, I mean, it would be contingent. Anything with a scale on it, whether it's a gecko, a lizard, what's the big old sumbitch? I mean, I guess a
chameleon
is a
dragon?
crocodile a scale? I don't know.
No, they just have thick skin.
Yeah, they're just thick
Yeah,
skin.
no
They're
scales.
thick. Fish,
So-
fish have scales like a bass.
Fish, lizards have scales.
Yep. Snakes,
Snakes have scales.
right? Probably a lot of other things. Probably a lot of aquatic creatures.
Yeah.
So-
I think I would rather have scales than the fur, because I'm not. First of all, like, and I'm not really trying to diss the community, but the furry community to me is interesting, and I would not want to be associated with that community at all.
I want to be covered in fur, and I'm gonna tell you why.
You're covered in fur?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why. Couple reasons here. One, I don't mind being hot. I like being warm, and I think because I'm looking at this like an animal perspective.
Like,
right?
how furry are you? How
We're-
long?
we're
How
either
long
s-
is the hair?
Well, I mean, look at like a dog, a cat, a bear, a lion, a tiger. That's kind of what I'm picturing, right? So short to medium hair, which is still fur. It's fur.
Yeah.
Like, a dog or a cat. I mean, even just break it down to that simple. I would rather have that kind of body temperature control for the colder weather. That's how I'm looking at this thing.
But if you're living in the heat,
Well, but I don't. I live in Denver right now.
yeah. See, I would like the scales because I'm pretty sure scales regrow. I mean, so does fur.
Yeah, I mean, fur absolutely regrows.
But if I could have really, really fine scaled skin, like, I could be so sleek and beautiful and shiny. And you would, like, touch me and I would feel like a snake, and you'd be like, oh my God. Like, and I'd be like, only stroke it one way. Like, you can't go the opposite way of the scale. You have to stroke it to the scale.
I mean, look, if you could be a fish, like a bass, a largemouth bass, anytime you catch one of those fuckers, you gotta scale it, right? So you're taking your fillet blade and scraping those scales off. That's where I like trout and some of the other fish that aren't scaly because they're a little bit more difficult. Scales, I'm not taking that option. I'm going for
Scales all day for me.
Well, you and I always have the differences, man. That's one of my favorite parts about the Would You Rather segment is when we disagree. Because there's a lot of them where we have unanimous decisions, you know? That just seems to happen a lot.
I don't like it when it's unanimous. I really don't. I would prefer...
But it's real.
I'd prefer scaly skin with a furry friend.
A scaly skin with a furry friend? Mm-hmm. Now, that's just playing both sides right there. And I'll take that, man. You know, that's about what the Would You Rather segment's all about. And... You know, I'm sitting in the seat, man. It's been fun sitting over here playing Arthur Raw.
Yeah.
And
you're looking good, bro. I always give myself a hard time about my belly on that side, though. Before we started, you were saying some stuff about how, like, you feel like you're gaining 5 pounds on that side.
Yeah, I feel like you feel a little heavier over here for some reason. This seat carries a little bit more weight in the shot for some reason, you know. I don't know why that is. But, you know, one of the things you do pretty well every week is I'm sitting there hitting buttons and doing everything is you like to do a little believe and achieve, you know? And my believe and achieve this week is, you know, just believe in yourself, man, and stay true to yourself. And really don't let that overpower the people that are around you. That's what I'm thinking for my believe and achieve. Accept people's difference of opinions, regardless of how controversial or how upsetting it could be. You know, take the time to listen to someone else's opinion that might not be the same as yours. Because we've really gotten away from that for years now. Mm-hmm. And I think that believe and achieve and own your opinions, listen to other people's opinions, and don't write them off. You know, make sure you invite them over COVID safe for Easter and Passover this weekend. You know, Passover's happening right now. Happy Easter and Passover to everybody that's celebrating.
Good Friday's coming up.
Good Friday's coming up. You know, believe and achieve that, man. You know, don't let that thing dictate who you surround yourself with. Because I think that that's really been the most divisive thing I've seen here in recent years is difference of opinions causing people to not get together.
Well, I mean, and what could create a more interesting conversation than two people who have respect for each other that have contrasting opinions? Because that way you can actually get into this conversation. That way you could get into the nitty gritty. And, you know, so like you're saying, be firm on who you are, but don't let that get in the way of allowing yourself to hear other expressions of opinion, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's too easy to do. You know, we touched on it a little bit in this episode here on this April Fool's special.
I had a great time.
This was fun, man.
I had fun running the rolling, riding the rolling, smashing buttons, keeping tabs open. You look super comfy on that.
I really enjoyed just kicking back. It was super relaxing sitting over here, man. It kind of got me out of like, I don't want to say, you know, because I'm not trying to downplay you as a co-host. I mean, I wouldn't want to host the show with anybody else. There's no one else I'd rather do this with. But when you're running the board, it's like you're constantly aware of timestamps and camera changes.
Yeah.
Over here, man, I just start to just get wild and free.
It's fun.
I feel like, which is great. And I'm looking forward to the day in Phase 4 where we're not running that.
Where we have somebody
neither one of us
that hits these buttons
that hits those
for
buttons.
both of us.
And I'll tell you this, you know, April Fools, everybody, I hope you're having fun. April is going to be such a tremendous month for Discussion Combustion.
It is.
We got Dr. Maria Michael on Zoom next week from the Indian Reservation talking to us about some amazing things. Really looking forward to that Discussion Combustion special. You know, we got just some great talent coming this month. Man, we got Flat Earth Dave from the Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. He's going to be on here on the 21st.
We got Brett coming in.
Brett's here the 14th in studio. And on the 28th, guys, we have the winner of Hell's Kitchen, Season 19. You've seen it on Fox. Every Thursday night, you're going to see the finale on the 22nd. We have the winner. The winner of that show will be here on the 28th via Zoom.
Absolutely. We're super excited. You guys know where to reach us. We're on all the platforms. You could watch us on YouTube. You know, you could email us on the Gmail, discussioncombustion@gmail.com. We absolutely know that we have the best listeners in the game. We appreciate all your support. We hope that you have a very, very strong rest of your week. Let's finish it strong. Let's be true to ourselves, and let's allow ourselves to be open to hearing other opinions. And on that bombshell, be good to yourselves. You deserve it.